Hi, my name is Jordan Hetrick, and I'm the author of books about how to use GoPro cameras. I'm excited to introduce you to the GoPro Hero7 Black. The biggest innovation of this camera definitely lies with the hyper smooth stabilization, which will make your videos viewable straight out of the camera and reduce the shakiness. Along with the fact that it's available at 4K at 60 frames per second, you can now play your 4K videos in super smooth slow motion with stabilization. Add in the fact that the camera is waterproof, and you're really holding one of the most innovative action cameras ever produced. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get set up, and I'm going to share some of my favorite tips along the way so that you can begin using your camera and start creating amazing footage. I've written a book specifically for the Hero7 Black that will be really helpful if you're just getting to know this camera. You can check out the link in the video description to get your copy. So let's get started with your new camera. Getting your Hero7 Black set up just requires a few steps that I'll walk you through, and then we'll get into using your camera. Your camera is mounted on this little mounting plate here, which is just for display. So we're going to take it off of that. Just turn the box around, lift up this black tab here, and squeeze these two tabs together. And then slide your camera forward this way, and make sure your hand's behind it so you can catch it as it comes out, just like that. You might want to hold on to this mounting plate and just take it off the box, because you could use it for something else, such as countersinking some holes and drilling it into something. It's just kind of like an extra mount that was for packaging, but you can find some uses for it. Let's also remove this little piece here. It says remove. That was just for the packaging. So turn the thumb screw here counterclockwise. And when you do, that little piece will come out, and then you can put the thumb screw back in, the little hole here, and screw that back in. This plastic case around your camera here is called the frame. We're going to take the camera out of the frame so we can insert the battery and microSD card. So just lift the tab here on the top, lift with your front fingers and hold it with your back, just like that. Then you can open this back door here and push with both hands evenly, and your camera will come sliding out just like that. You can take off this sticker. This is just for display. Now grab the box that your camera came mounted on and open it up. You can set this paperwork to the side here. And then under this tab, open that up, and the battery is right here. So pull the battery out, it looks like this. Some of the kits come with a bonus microSD card. So if yours came with a microSD card, grab that card as well. Most of the camera kits don't come with a microSD card though. So if you don't have a microSD card, make sure you go purchase a UHS-1 microSD card up to 128 gigabytes. The battery and microSD card go in the bottom door here of the camera. Just press down on the latch release tab there. You can slide the door over and it'll lift open. Now take the battery and turn it around so that all the writing is facing towards the back of the camera like this, and with the tab down, and insert it into the camera and push it all the way down. Now take your microSD card with the writing on it facing towards the touch display on the back of the camera and put it in this little slot here right behind the battery. Put it in there and then push it down with your fingernail till it clicks into place. Then you can close the door here. Just push it down first, flush with the camera, and then slide it over. And make sure this little latch release tab pops back up so it's flush with the camera. The battery only comes partially charged because it's the best way to store the cameras while they're on the shelf. So it's best to charge your battery before you really get started. So open the side door here. That's where the USB port is. You just press down on the latch release tab here, slide the door down, and then lift it up. Insert one end of the USB cable into the USB-C port there on your camera. Insert the other end of the cable into a USB charger or a computer. Make sure the power is on your charger, and you'll see a red light come on the camera. That indicates that the camera is charging. If you're using a USB charger, make sure that it's 5 volt and 1 to 2 amps so that it's compatible with the camera's charging. It takes about 2 hours for the camera to charge completely, so you can press pause on this video and come back when your camera's charged. You'll know that your camera's finished charging when this light here is turned off. After the camera's finished charging, just remove the USB cable and shut the side door. Just make sure it goes flush, and then you slide it back up. Make sure the latch release tab pops back in place so it's flush with the camera. And now your camera's waterproof again. The relatively short battery life is one of the drawbacks of GoPro cameras. This battery only lasts about 1 hour and 10 minutes to 1 hour and 40 minutes of recording time, depending on your video resolution. But the fortunate thing is the extra batteries are not too expensive, and you can easily just swap it out when a battery dies. Just open it up, pull the battery out, and you can swap it with a new one. And you're good to go. Now that the battery is charged, let's turn on your camera. So on the left side of the camera here is the power mode button. If you press this button, your camera will turn on, and you'll see the Hero Black 7 welcome screen here. You can turn the camera around, and on the touch display here is the setup items. So just tap that screen and you can select your language. So just scroll to select, I'm going to select English, and then just click agree on the legal stuff. Click on for GPS. And now it wants to connect you to the GoPro app. And I'm actually going to do this for those of you using a device. The GoPro app's a great way to update your camera's firmware. It's very important that you update the firmware on this camera so that it operates like you're expecting it to. You don't have to use the GoPro app to use your camera, but it does add extra features, and it acts as a live viewfinder, and it's a great way to share your photos. So I'm going to show you how to get connected to it. So go to your App Store or Google Play, and you can just search GoPro, and this is the app here, GoPro app. It's free, and it doesn't even require an account anymore to open and use. So just download that app to your phone. And once it's downloaded, open the GoPro app. And it's got some intro screens here, but up here in the top left corner, there's the camera icon. So just tap on that icon, and you can click here, add a camera. So it automatically found my camera because I was in the setup menu that we were just going through. So it says we found your GoPro, connect your camera. And it's just allowing Bluetooth connection. And if you want to change your camera's name, you can. I'll just leave it at that for now, but you can just type a new name in here. I'll confirm the new name. And it's going to offer us a camera update. And that's going to update the camera's firmware wirelessly so that all the features such as hyper smooth stabilization at 4K 60 is available, and also so the front screen rotates when you go into a vertical orientation. So you can just wait for that to download. Once the update has downloaded, click Update Camera. Accept and continue. Now it's transferring files over to the camera. You can press pause on this video while it does this. The camera is going to turn off and on a few times, and you'll see this icon here on the front. When the update's complete, you'll see this on your camera and on that GoPro app. Your camera will power back on, and you'll see this screen here. You can close the GoPro app. We'll come back to that in a little bit for a short tour. This here is the touch display on the Hero7 Black, and I'm going to give you a little tour of it so you can understand the icons as you're using your camera. Up here in the middle is the main modes. So there's photo, video, and time-lapse modes. And to change it between the modes, you just swipe the screens. And you can change to the main modes here. Photo, then you go back to video, and the other way to time-lapse. I'm going to go back to video mode here. You can also switch between the main modes on the camera by pressing the side mode button here, and I'll go between photo, time-lapse, and video modes. And up here is the memory card capacity based on the current settings you have. So it shows that I have 4 hours of video left on a 128 gigabyte card. This is the clip icon. If you want to record 15 or 30-second video clips, you can press this icon. If you're in photo mode up here, this will show a self-timer, which you can use to take self-timer photos. This down here, this other video camera, is the capture mode icon. There are different capture modes within each mode. The Hero7 Black has all these welcome screens that kind of remind you of what each of the icons is. After you read it, you can press the screen, it'll go away. And then you can tap it again, and you can change capture modes here if you want to change to looping or video. So depending on the mode you're in, there's going to be different capture modes available. I'm just going to tap video. And then here is your settings dialog. And that has all the settings available for that capture mode, all within one box, which is nice, and it's easier to change modes and settings compared to the other cameras because it's all in one spot. And this here is the touch zoom icon. And if you're in a mode that's compatible with touch zooming, you can tap this icon, and then you can zoom in and zoom out to change your composition. And then touch the screen when you're done. Up here is the battery life icon. It shows you an exact percentage of the battery. Now let's change the video resolution over. I'll show you how to do that. So you just tap on the settings dialog, go to resolution and frames per second. Up here is the aspect ratio. So this is a 4:3 aspect ratio. If you tap it, it'll go to 16:9. So I'm going to tap on 4K here, and it's going to give you a warning that there's an HEVC file. Some phones and computers are not compatible with this format. You can check if yours is, and you can decide if you want to use that. But to use the best settings on this camera, you'll need to use that format. So click OK. There's a way of getting around the HEVC, which I cover in my book too, but it's kind of in depth, so I'm not going to go through that right now. And so you'll see here it's at 4K at 60 frames per second, and hyper smooth stabilization is on. That's the Hero7 Black's new stabilization that's going to help you get that gimbal-like footage, and it's amazing, so you're going to love it. Then you can press the mode button on the side here if you ever want to exit out of the settings window and go back into recording mode. That's one of the other shortcuts out of there. To start recording, you just press the top shutter button here. Your video will start recording. And when you're done, press the shutter button again to stop recording. And you can pull up your media and it'll play the video automatically. These are the icons available on the Hero7 Black. There's a delete button, slow motion if you record it in 60 frames per second or higher. And there's a scroll, so you can scroll through your videos to find the highlights you want, and a highlight tag. If you want to add a highlight at one of your favorite moments of a video, you can just tap that. And then when you transfer over to the GoPro app and it automatically edits a video for you, it'll know where the highlights are. Although the app already has some smart technology built in so that it knows when to find highlights, but that will help it, give it another clue. And you can also use those highlights if you're in Quik for desktop. This is the volume here. This is the grid icon to see thumbnails of all the media you have on your card. I'm just going to press the mode button to escape back out of that. And one more tip for when you're composing your shots. If you tap the screen here after you've changed your settings, just tap the screen and all that info will go away and you'll have a nice clean shot to compose your shots. And you can tap it again and it'll come back. Last but not least, if you pull down from the top, you get the preferences menu. This is where you can turn on voice control, which allows you to control your GoPro using your voice. This is to turn on and off the beeps. This is for a quick capture, where you can start recording with one press of the button. And this is to lock your screen, which is really useful if you're in the water, so that the water doesn't accidentally change your settings. Down here is the preferences menu, where you can change a bunch of the general settings and stuff about your camera, as well as connect to the GoPro app and set up your connections. There's your GPS signal. If you're connected to the app, that'll light up. And the cloud, if you automatically upload to the cloud through GoPro's service, then that could be highlighted too. I'm going to press the mode button to escape from there. And I just want to show you one other cool feature on the Hero7 Black. If you swipe over to time-lapse mode, this is time warp video, and it's a really cool hyperlapse mode, so you can record stabilized time lapses and hyperlapses. And I have a bunch of good tips on my book about getting the most out of the stabilization of this camera and for creating hyperlapses that'll really stand out from the rest. To turn off your camera, press the side mode button here and hold it down for 3 seconds and your camera will turn off. And it can take a while for the front screen to turn off, so as long as you hear those beeps and you see the lights flashing, it means your camera's turning off. With the Hero7 Black, this is the first time that GoPro has actually made it so you can rotate your camera and it'll change orientation if you want to take vertical photos or videos. And the front screen here will rotate as well as the back screen. If you're not a fan of vertical videos, you can just pull down from the Preferences menu, go into Preferences, Touch Display, and you can put Landscape Lock on. Then your video won't rotate. These are the mounting items that come with your Hero7 Black. This is the frame, this is the thumb screw, this is a buckle, this is a curved adhesive mount, and this is a flat adhesive mount. So to mount your camera, first you insert your camera into the frame here. And this is used so that you can attach your camera to the different mounting pieces. To insert your camera into the frame, just open the back door here, slide your camera in evenly, and then close the back door. Now close this little tab here over the ledge at the top of the back door and push it down on the front until it snaps into place. Now your camera slides into a buckle, like this one here, the mounting buckle. It slides in, line up the holes, and insert the thumb screw, and then tighten it so that your camera is mounted securely to this base here. Your camera came with 2 adhesive mounts. This one here with the rounded corners is a flat adhesive mount, which is used for attaching to flat surfaces because the base of it here is totally flat. This one with the squarish corners is a curved adhesive mount. And this is the one you would use on a curved surface or attaching to a helmet because it's going to match that curve better. To attach an adhesive mount, just choose the surface you want to attach to. Make sure it's flat, non-porous, and non-flexible. Like a surfboard works really well, and just make sure all the grease and gunk is off your surface so that this will stick properly. Then find the area where you want to mount it and make sure that this lines up with the angle you want because your camera is going to slide into that. So on a surfboard I try to put it as close to the nose as possible if I'm going for that angle, just so there's more distance between the camera and the subject. When you found your location, then you just peel off this red liner here. Once you finally get an edge up, you can peel that adhesive off there. And then just stick it onto the surface where you want to mount it Make sure it's nice and straight. Press it down thoroughly everywhere. And just really press it down to kind of get it tacky. And once you have it securely on there, you want to let it set for at least 24 hours before you go use it. And 72 hours is preferred. And on a surfboard, I'd actually probably use this, the surfboard mount, which is just a larger flat adhesive mount with a little camera tether mount, so it can hold your camera more securely. But I'm just showing you how this works since this came with the kit. Once the mount is properly adhered to your surface, you can insert your camera. You just lift this black locking plug, slide it in. Just try to make sure it goes in nice and even so that one of these tabs doesn't break off, because if it goes in crooked, sometimes they can break. Push it all the way until it snaps in place, and then press down the black locking plug. Once you're happy with the angle, make sure you tighten this thumb screw very tightly so it doesn't move around, because once you start getting out there in action, it can move pretty easily. With some mounts, like the three-way shown here, you just attach the camera directly to the mount without using a buckle. So you just slide it in, and then you still tighten it using a thumb screw. As long as the side door and bottom door are closed completely and the latch release tab is flush to the camera, this camera is waterproof itself to 33 feet deep. If you want to go deeper than that, you can use the super suit for scuba diving. However, the camera does not float, so if you think there's a chance you might drop it in the water, you want to either use a floaty back door like this one, like I use when I'm using it on a bite mount for surfing, or use it on a floating handle like this one, which is the Handler by GoPro, and this will float your camera if you drop it. This pole called El Grande by GoPro has been one of my other favorite mounts lately, just because it's got such a range of extension. You can get some really unique shots. You just want to be sure sand doesn't get on the pole and get in the grooves, because it can stop it from closing properly. After doing the camera update, you may have to reconnect your camera to the GoPro app. If you do, just pull down from the top of the screen, and in Preferences, tap on Connections and select GoPro app. That'll put your camera into pairing mode. Then just open the GoPro app, click Add a Camera, and select the Hero 7. The GoPro app should be able to see your camera, and it should stay connected next time as long as your camera's Wi-Fi is turned on. The GoPro app is a very useful tool to use with your camera. I'm not going to go into full depth right now, but I'll give you a quick overview. If you just open up the GoPro app, once you've connected, you should see your camera here. And this signal here, if it's blue, that means your Wi-Fi on your camera is on and you can connect to it. You can use this icon here to see through your camera's lens, which is very useful for setting up angles and composing your shots. When you're recording video, if you want to see a live preview while you're recording, just make sure that the video resolution is compatible with your phone. If it's not, you may need to switch to a lower resolution, such as 1080/60, and then it should work. You can also live stream to Facebook using the Hero7 Black, so that's one of the other new features. You can also view your media and download it to your phone. After you've filmed, you can also use the GoPro app to create automatically edited videos of your recent footage. Just make sure that you download Quik, which is also made by GoPro, and it's spelled Quik. The GoPro app will prompt you to get the media from your camera. Just make sure you have enough storage on your phone to transfer the files. If you don't see the prompt here, just turn your camera on and your camera will be recognized by the GoPro app. Once the QuikStory is ready, you can follow the prompts to go over to Quik, where you can make fine-tuned edits to the project. You can add filters and also change the style based on what you like. I explain the GoPro app and Quik more in my book, but for now let's move on with the camera. If you want to edit your files on your computer, I highly recommend downloading Quik for Desktop. Quik for Desktop helps you organize your files by date, and you can do a little bit of pre-editing, such as adding GPS stickers and creating shorter clips from longer ones, which you can then export and use for your other video editing apps. To transfer your files over to a computer, just open the side door here, insert the USB cable, plug the other end of the USB cable into your computer, and power your camera on. Then Quik for Desktop will recognize your camera and prompt you to import your files. After you've gotten your camera salty or dirty, it's always good to rinse it off with fresh water. Give it a little shake to get the extra water off, and then you can just dry it off with a little towel or cloth. And before you open the side door or the bottom door, just make sure that there's no water around that door. You want it to be nice and clean when you open those doors up. Once again, my name is Jordan Hetrick. There are so many useful tips and tricks and other information in the Hero7 Black book that it's impossible to cover in this video. So click on the link in the video description below to get your copy of the book today. I'm really grateful for your support. Thank you, and have fun with your new camera.